The FX6 Mark II, is it coming? Have you guys heard anything? When can we expect this? And what are the features that we wish we would have on a Mark II version of the FX6? The Sony FX6, a really beloved camera by a lot of operators, a lot of different content creators out there, including myself. I've been using it for almost 2 years now, or I think over 2 years. Well used on a ton of projects, and I'm really hoping that Sony announces a Sony FX6 Mark II, and these are the things I'm hoping it's gonna have. So to start off, let's go through some of the things on my Sony FX6, very well used. I sold my FX9 because I was so happy with my FX6, I did not need it anymore. I was actually trying to get a second FX6 at the time when I sold my FX9. I couldn't get one, it was all back ordered. And then a good friend and colleague of mine that I work with a lot got another one. So we do share back and forth sometimes when we need two cameras to match in a shoot. He'll take my FX6 or I'll take his other FX6, and I can use two different FX6s that way. But this has been my kind of go-to, and I've just kind of changed this kit a little bit, different top handle on here in the last few months. But what are the features on here that I wish that the FX6 Mark II would have? There's one clear big thing, and that is fixing the audio. And what I mean about the audio issues is the ability to record somehow, not on the handle itself, but into the body, being able to put XLRs into the body like the Burano. I'm saying it wrong. Somebody's gonna correct me, but that's a new cinema Sony camera that's gonna be released. It's been talked about, or there's a date to be released as of soon. It's like a $30,000 US camera. Looks beautiful, beautiful image on that. But if you look on it, the body looks really similar. It's actually what I've used in the thumbnail for this. The body looks very similar to the FX6, except one of the big things is that it has XLR built into it. Now, the problem with the FX6 is if you take off their top handle, you have no way of putting other audio into your camera. You have a little scratch mic on the actual body itself, but there's no other way to get audio in there off of another recorder, off a wireless thing, off a lapel, off of a shotgun mic, nothing. No way to do that. And the other issue with this is the top handle, the way it's designed, does not last. Mine is completely shot. I mean, I broke off my mic piece on it. I had that replaced. I had that sent into Sony for repair. And then the connections that go from it to the body of the camera itself, that connection is there. It's just this little place in there where that gives you all the connections into the body. That for me does not work. It's completely intermittent. It scratches, it goes on sometimes, it comes off sometimes. I can't use it. So basically, anytime I'm using this camera here, this setup like this, I'm doing audio a different way. I'm using this just with the internal audio, the little scratch track mic on the front here, and then I'm recording audio to another camera or another audio device, or my second FX6 that I'm using on an interview, but I'm not doing any audio into it that way on this camera. And it's really a pain. It's really a terrible feature. If they just had XLRs built into the body, even a 3.5 jack built into the body, a way to get audio into here, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. That's basically all I'm really hoping for on a Mark II. And some people might think, well, that doesn't really warrant a Mark II. But if you think about it, there was an FX7 Mark II. There's an FX7, an FS7 Mark I, which I had and used for about 5 years in productions. The FS7 Mark II, I believe the only thing difference on it had a variable NDs on it, and that was it. That was the only real change on it. I would love a Mark II of the FX6 that had better audio options built into the body, and having a different kind of handle configuration where, you don't have to use their Sony handle to have the audio. The Burano has, that in-body stabilization on here. Could they build the next one with in-body stabilization like you have on the FX3 or the A7S, which uses the same sensor? Maybe you could. I don't really see that happening because you have that on the Brana. Maybe that would be a great feature to have in here as well. The V-mount plate for just the batteries, I don't think that's needed as much as I just mainly use V-mounts when I'm using the FX6. I think they'll likely still stay with the regular kind of, get the model of these batteries that Sony's been using for a while, on the FX6s, on the FS5s, on the FS7, at the FX9. They'll be using probably the same battery. And the other feature that I would love to have on the FX6 is to be able to crop into the 35mm on the sensor. To be able to crop in a bit on the sensor to a 35mm sensor to get a little bit longer on my telephoto lenses, to have that options that way, to maybe even use some lenses that are built for 35 for the coverage that way. But also, it's just going to give you a bit more extension on different lenses, a little more options that way. If you could do that and still be able to do 4K 120, that would be awesome. That would be really awesome to have. Another, I think, very simple feature they could have. But let me know in the comments, what do you think is going to be on a Sony FX6 Mark II? Do you think there's going to be a Mark II? Are they going to go to an FX7? No, that doesn't make sense. Maybe an FX7. What is going to be coming out next from Sony? Or is the FX6 going to stay around for a long time? But let me know, what would you like to see on a Mark II version of the FX6? What features do you think it's missing that you think they could easily incorporate and have a relaunch of this camera? And do you think there's going to be a Sony FX6 Mark II? Are they going to go right to an FX7? Or are they just going to keep the FX6 as it is, which is kind of rumors I've heard more of, that this thing is here to stay for a little bit longer, and it might be a while before we see another revamp of this. Sony, please, Mark II, bring it out, let us know. So thanks so much, guys. If you like this video, please think of subscribing to my channel, giving this video a like. All that stuff helps to kind of build my content going on. I'm going to be coming out with a lot more content throughout the year. Please let me know the style and the things that I'm doing that you like, and let me know the things you don't like. And we'll see you guys on the next one.